You've still got the car. You've still got the car.
Yeah, in my office. In my office, I got the 98 S40 from that I won the championship with.
So I've got Mr. TWR Volvo here with me today, Rickard Rydell. I feel like I need to speak in an English accent when I say your name because I'm just hearing Murray Walker saying, Rickard Rydell wins again.
Yes, and it is Rickard Rydell, the reigning British touring car champion of 1998.
The difficult questions first. You qualified pole at in the S40 on the mountain, Mount Panorama. You qualified pole there. Murray Walker said that you were a Swedish florist.
And he looked like what he is, a Swedish florist. Very quiet, very laid back, but he comes alive when he gets in the car.
Is that true or not?
Well, yeah, partly true, of course. I'm grown up on the near Stockholm, and my grandfather started it, and my father ran it, and me and my brother has been running it. Business importing flowers to Sweden, selling in Sweden. So, and also growing tulips in greenhouses in Sweden. And I, during my racing career, I've always kept in touch with the business, and just because of my interest. And so, yeah, that's partly true.
You said you guys spoke about it over pizza the night before, and then the next day you went on to get pole by 1.5 seconds. I mean, that's unbelievable.
He's definitely going to be it.
14.
And what a lap! 1.5 seconds faster. 2 minutes 14.9. Surely that is not going to be beaten.
I mean, Mount Panorama circuit is still the my favorite circuit. It's really nice. I really enjoyed going there, and I mean, Murray Walker, of course, he's a legend, and it was fun having him as a commentator for the championship in Britain as well for a few years, but going to Australia and race there at Bathurst together with Jim Richards as well, a legend in Australia, that was really something for sure. And something that I enjoyed a lot. He was a gentleman, telling me things on the track. And I mean, racing together, you get really close to your teammate, and we talk a lot together. And I enjoyed it a lot. And I just really, I think that circuit suited my driving, and I enjoyed street tracks since being before having had the pole position in Macau in Formula 3 a couple of times.
That. So you won at Macau as well, didn't you?
That's right, and in F3. So I quite like that type of circuit, but I think Bathurst Panorama, Mount Panorama, has something else, because with the long straights, and it's a bit of a mixture of a street track and a normal track.
Yeah, it looks like, when I watched the video of that lap, it looks like you were absolutely on the limit of that car at the time, but it also looked like that car was weirdly suited to be at the limit at that track.
I guess, yeah. I mean, the 98 car was really good also in England in that championship. I mean, we had the year before we started with the S40, and the 97 car wasn't as good, and we learned through the year what things to do, and we were testing a lot in those days in British touring cars. We were testing every week. I remember living in Sweden, having 38 return flights to England that year. So I lived in Sweden, but commuted back and forwards all the time, and we were testing not just in England over the winter, of course, in other places. So it was nice to be part of that development, like so professional team with the you could do what you want. If you asked for something, they'd go to the drawing board and do it. So it was quite amazing.
But that was the heyday of touring cars, and that brings me to why we're here today. We're here to talk about the Volvo 850 and its development, and that period of motorsport. That was the World Cup of motorsport racing. You had 10 manufacturers. There were over 18 international drivers in one location, the best drivers in the world. And here you were near the front of the grid most times. And what was that like? In a Volvo.
Yeah, I know. I mean, when I agreed to race in the British Touring Car Championships, I gave up my ambition or my dream to go to Formula One. I had been racing in Japan, and I had a contract verbally agreed but not signed to stay in Japan to do Formula 3000. But then when Volvo did this in Britain, it was quite a big push, and they asked me to join them. I thought it's closer to commute to England than Japan. So, and I had one child and one more on the way. So I decided to take up that and a little bit gave up my dream of going to Formula One, but I've never regretted it. I had a great career in touring cars, and those years with Volvo was really, really fun. And I mean, I think when I calculate back, I had 20 consecutive years as driving as a manufacturer driver for different brands like Volvo, Seat, Aston Martin, and Toyota before in Japan. So I'm quite pleased with what I've done. So no regrets.
Now, well, I'm talking to you now. I think the world is pleased with what you've done. The 850 was Sweden's most expensive industrial product. If the 850 didn't work out, Volvo could have gone under. Was there a lot of pressure on Tom Walkinshaw Racing to do well with that car? And you, of course, as a driver.
I mean, I don't think that the racing would have made it go under or anything. But of course, with Volvo is such a big brand in Sweden, it has been all my life. And so racing for Volvo, and also with the British touring cars shown on Swedish television, national television, I think there quite often was like 10% of the population watching the racing. So it was quite popular in Sweden as well. So it was, of course, really, really important to me and to everyone else. I felt the pressure and had to, of course, I've had my problems through the years with dealing with the pressure and learning how to deal with it, and really from some tough times to really enjoy it and like it. And that's how I stayed involved for such a long time in racing.
Hawthorne at 100 miles an hour, closing on Julian Bailey's Toyota. Then suddenly all the grip has gone. Onto the grass and over onto the roof. One very second-hand Volvo, one owner, carefully driven, but history.
So the station wagon, I'm getting to drive the saloon and the station wagon next week. The wagon is, some say, the coolest touring car ever. I mean, it might not have been the best driving touring car, but certainly the coolest. And it made Volvos cool, and it made station wagons cool at the same time. When Tom Walkinshaw Racing called you and said you're racing a station wagon, what was your first response?
Well, I signed the contract before knowing I was racing in the States. So, so when they told me, I was a bit surprised, of course. And to be honest, that was the first year that TWR did a front-wheel drive car. And it wasn't perfect. I mean, the estate car could have been much better. And I think, so because it was the first year for TWR making this front-wheel drive car, there was some mistakes, and then something we learned throughout the year, and the car got better and better. But I think if we had done the estate the second year, it would have been even better. But then, of course, they changed the regulations because I guess Alfa Romeo, BMW, they didn't like Volvo estate racing against them with doing it for the brands. So that's why we did the saloon the year after, which was a much better car, much better handling car, just because of TWR learning a lot over the year.
So things got serious after that quickly because all the manufacturers started coming in. BTCC just grew and grew. I mean, I watched it as a youngster here in South Africa. It was the most popular tin top series in the world. There were some incidents. And one of those incidents was between you and Anthony Reid at Brands Hatch.
If you get away with that, I'm going to have you.
What happened in the clerk of the courses office after that?
Well, first of all, me and Anthony was good friends since Japan. I knew him very well. And I remember him having an accident at Fuji in Japan, and I went with him to the hospital. So we really knew each other very well. And he purposely didn't brake, used me as a brake to get past.
He said that you did brake early.
Yeah, no, that's not. That's his excuse. But so when we came in, I wanted to talk to him before the cameras, before anything. I didn't know that there was a camera right behind me. It cost me £2,000 as a fine for doing what I did to Anthony.
Yeah.
But they also looked at the incident and gave me the victory. So I think it was worth £2,000 those points. So I was okay with it.
You've raced all over the world. You've raced 962s with South Africa's Wayne Taylor. You raced with Colin McRae, David Brabham. Where does the Volvo 850 and Volvo specifically fit into your totem pole of the best cars or the best experience as a race car driver?
In racing wise, I mean, the racing against other competitors was the best in those years in British touring cars, because it was really, really competitive. And then, of course, I've driven cars that are more challenged to drive, like in Formula 3000 in Japan was really tough with where there was like a tire war between Dunlop, Yokohama, Bridgestone. So the lap times in 3000 in Japan was quicker than the back of the Formula 1 grid. Then, of course, the Aston Martin and Ferrari at Le Mans, winning Le Mans 2007 with David Brabham and Darren Turner. That was a great experience, of course, with the Aston Martin Works team. But I think British Touring Cars and Volvo was the time I enjoyed the most from a racing point of view, because of the racing against other competitors. So I learned a lot. My first couple of years in touring cars, I came from single seaters and didn't really know what to do, how to behave. And I guess people like John Cleland and other drivers taught me how to become a tougher driver. So it was good learning those years. I really enjoyed it.
It's funny that you bring up John Cleland, because he's been known to box a little bit on the circuit, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he was quite fair, to be honest, and maybe a little bit over the limit, but then we were all a bit over the limit.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, you've still got the car.
Yeah, in my office, I got the 98 S40 from that I won the championship with. So wow. I put a bit of all the prizes in the helmet on. So it's good, nice to keep.
Yeah, of course it's nice to keep. One of the questions you actually forgot to ask you, have you still got any of the car, or do you own a Volvo? But I mean, that is the Volvo to own.
Yeah, that's the only one. Yeah.
Well, that's the main one, isn't it? Eh? So that was the 98 car that you won the championship.
Yeah, exactly. The S40.
Sure. That's incredible. Rickard Rydell, thank you so much for the chat. I still can't believe I got to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. Okay. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Won't go out there with absolutely green tires. And, of course, the engine will have perhaps a few little goodies done to it that the engineers won't even tell us about.
Next time we look inside the car, look for that sequential gear change. The vertical gear shift lever, which is sticking up out of the floor, he just nudges it forward to change down, pulls it back to change up. Smooth, effortless. And look at that. This is a tremendous lap. It looks visually much quicker than anything we've had before, and the split is going to tell us 0.6 of a second faster again.
He's absolutely flying here. Look at that, again on the curb, on the exit of the dipper. That meant he was really happy with his momentum, had the car under full control. Watch this, right up against the rock wall there, over the white line, now fading it through tire power again over the white line, taking his chances with the wall, with the fence, some fence. And they're looking so calm and relaxed coming down Conrad.
Yeah, Alan, you and I were gasping at his driving the sport when we saw the warm-up, because he was almost hitting the wall.
Statistician Nigel Greenway tells me that when he did the sub-16 this morning, he never got under 12 seconds at the top. So he's going faster than that already.
So is this going to be the fastest lap we've had? When he did the warm-up, it was 2 minutes 15.85. The fastest lap we've had for the top 10 so far. Steve Richards, 2 minutes 16.4. This is going to be it. This is definitely going to be it.
14.
And what a lap! 1.5 seconds faster. 2 minutes 14.9. Surely that is not going to be beaten.